Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to day one of our 5-day challenge. Everything about learning the BRRR strategy. We are Jen and Stacy Conkey, and we are so excited to be here with you today. So much preparation has been gone into this. We are so excited to share this information and knowledge with you and just help you really lay the foundation to completely change your life into whatever it is that you're looking to do. So, are you guys ready? You have pen and paper ready to go? I hope so. A lot of knowledge about to be dropped on you today. So get ready and let's get rocking. All right, so before we get too far, let's start off by talking about who this challenge is for. So if you want to start investing using the BRRR strategy, but you're not exactly sure how it all works, you're in the right place. Or maybe you've done the BRRR strategy in your local market, but now you're ready to learn how to do it remotely so that you can start having some location freedom. You're in the right place. If you've heard, oh, it's just so hard to find deals, there's no good deals out there, all the good deals are taken, blah, 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 and you're like, I'm done with all that BS, I'm ready to go find those deals, and then welcome, you're in the right place. If you don't feel crystal clear on how financing for the BRRRR strategy works, and you'd like to get some clarity and confidence, you're in the right place. If you know that you want to get started, but you're stuck in analysis paralysis, then again, you're in the right place. We're going to get you unstuck. And then finally, if you want to feel confident when doing financial analysis and submitting offers on deals, you're in the right place. We're going to be covering all of those things to get you completely unstuck and moving at lightning speed. All right, so let's just quickly cover what are we going to be talking about today? All right, so we're going to start by covering a few administrative items, just who we are, why we're doing the challenge. We're going to talk about what we're going to be covering this entire week. So what do you have in store? We're going to talk about how you can win our $7,997 scholarship in our program. We're going to be going through the entire BRRRR investing foundation, like A to Z. What are all the different parts that make up doing this entire strategy start to finish? And then, of course, we're going to, oh, actually, I didn't write it in there, but we're going to be doing some really helping you anchor down to what is your why? What is your compelling reason for even doing all of this? And then we're going to wrap up the day with your homework for tonight. All right, so first things first, some administrative time. So every day, Monday through Friday, we're going to go live at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, and you know your time zone if you're in between there. And then we will also be replaying the live at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. In addition, we will have the recording of every day's presentation in the guides section, which I'm going to talk about here in just a couple minutes. All right, so guides, if you've been into any of our previous challenges, or if you've been on Facebook for any amount of time and you've ever done anything in units, well, I was looking for them the other day and I was like, where did they go? Well, now they're called guides. So thank you, Facebook, for always keeping us on our toes, but it's basically in the same place and it's the same thing. They just gave it a new name. Why? Couldn't tell you. But anyway, so in the guides section, first thing I want to talk about is your workbook for the challenge is going to be in there. In the past, we had emailed it out to everyone, but sometimes people didn't get the email or it got stuck in spam or whatever. So instead of worrying about any of that, for everyone, you're going to go to the guides section and it's even already there for you. And you're going to download the workbook and the link to the self-scoring sheet. So this is the workbook. It's, I don't know, 20 something pages. You can download it electronically. If you're more of like a electronic techie person and you're taking notes electronically, then cool, you can use it. I'm more of a pen to paper type of person. So for me, I'd be printing it and taking a lot of notes by hand. Plus there's actually going to be, this challenge is going to be probably the most comprehensive of any that we've done so far, as far as the activities and really crunching numbers by hand to make sure you understand it. So anyway, so look through there when you get to a part where you know it's going to be beneficial for you to put pen to paper, make sure you print it out. All right. All right, the other thing that's in the guide section is the link. So it's a link to a Google Sheet for the self-scoring tally sheet. So the self-scoring tally sheet, we just, every single challenge, we kind of look at it and go, what can we do better? What can we do better? What can we do better? Constant improvement. And one of the things we decided to do this time is have our self-scoring tally sheet have all of the links that you need for everything, whether it's the homework or extra credit, like where to go, where do you go subscribe to our YouTube channel, or where do you go to watch Jen's Sue talk? And so the link to everything is right here. So if anytime you're asking the question, oh, where do I go to find blah? It's in here. Okay, so, and the link to this document is in the guide. So the first thing you need to do, and I have it highlighted in red right there, is you're going to make your own copy of it. So if you go to change it and it says, oh, you can't change request permission to access document, don't bother, because you'll just send me an email. There's nothing I can do. What you need to do is just go up to file, make a copy, and then it'll save it to your Google Drive, and then you'll be able to edit it. And the thing that's cool, if you look to the left, on the left side of it, we have points earned and possible points. And we're going to go through what this means in just a little bit, but so you have a visual for it. Every day there's points available. And if you're competing for the scholarship, then this is going to be especially important for you. Anyway, and I would hope that everybody's going to be competing for the scholarship because it's going to be amazing. But anyway, so you have all your possible points in the second column. And as you go through every day and you're earning the points, then you fill out the column on the left. So you know by the end of day 4 of the challenge, how many points you have, and then you're going to submit that as your entry to the scholarship program. All right. Further in guides, every day we're going to have a recording of the live training that will be in guides. So I think that day 1 of the challenge is in like guide number 5. I can't remember how they call it, but it's like number 5 because we have different posts in there that are like for networking and lending and things like that. So look for the one for day 1. The recording of the live training will be in each day's guide, so that if you miss it, or frequently people are like, wow, that was so good, but I didn't catch all that, or I need to listen to it again to really understand it. That is why we're going to post that every day, so that if you've missed it, or if you need to hear it again or hear a part of it again, you have the ability to do so. The other thing that you're going to find in the guide section every single day is the daily homework post. So sometime in the middle of what I'm presenting, one of our team members is going to put the homework post up so that when we're completely done, it'll be right there. We're going to go through the homework together as we go through the presentation, but it's also going to be there. The homework post is where you're going to actually respond with what your homework was. So every day in the workbook, there's going to be a sheet that you are going to be filling out, writing answers in, and then you're taking a picture of it and posting that to the homework post to show that you've completed the assignment for that day. All right. Next thing is I want everybody to send a friend request and a private message to our admin, and the admin profile name is @MichaelWowAdmin. Now, in the past, it's the same profile that we had we just had our name initially, like Jen Stacy Admin. So if you're already friends with Jen Stacy Admin, then you're already friends with Michael Wow Admin. But just in case, send a friend request, make sure you're already connected, and send a private message, because Michael was not on our team at the time we did the last challenge. So it'd be awesome for you to be like, hey, Michael, how's it going? Just introduce yourself, and also just give him an idea of where you are in your investing journey. Are you like brand spanking new? Have you done some stuff? Are you looking to scale? Just give him an idea so that he knows when he's interacting with you how to best help and serve you as we go forward. All right, and that's a picture of Michael. So when you're, sometimes you're like, who is it that we're interacting with? There's Michael. He is awesome. We're excited to have him on our team. All right, couple other quick things. Make sure you check your email, and make sure that our email to you is not in your spam, because every day of the challenge, we're going to be sending you an email with information. So make sure that our email is not sitting in your spam, and that you've told it not spam or whatever, so that you'll actually see it. Okay, and then lastly, this is on the self-scoring tally sheet, the housekeeping video. Housekeeping video is basically a compilation, maybe 11 minutes. It's a compilation of all of the things that we got a lot of questions on last challenge, like, well, how do I go? Where do I register for this upcoming event? And where is this located? And etc. I need everybody to watch that housekeeping video. So please do not send a question to myself, Jen, or Michael asking, where is this, if you have not watched that housekeeping video, okay? So we want to do our best to make sure this is as streamlined as we can, so we can give you so much value and really spend our time on fulfilling for you. So watch that housekeeping video. It will fill in all the gaps, and then you'll be well prepared to step forward after that. If you have a question after watching a housekeeping video about something, then you can message Michael, and he will get the answer to you. All right, so let's cover quickly who we are and why we're doing the challenge. So we are Jen and Stacy Conkey, and we are the founders of Warriors of Wealth. So we're located in San Diego, California. We have been investing in real estate since 2003, and we've pretty much done every imaginable kind of real estate transaction. I think at this point we've done wholesaling, fix and flips, the BRRRR strategy, multifamily rentals, apartments, value-add apartments. We've done conversions of one property type to a different type. We've done doubling the square footage on. So we've really, my main point is we've done a little bit of everything. We've done new construction, we did pre-construction. Anyway, so we have a very, very broad base of knowledge just from the last 18 years of experience that we have. So we're really excited to come and share just our wisdom with you. There's a lot of things that we did the wrong way and the hard way just because nobody ever told us otherwise. And it was a challenging journey. And it's part of our mission to make your journey easier and smoother so that you will stick with it and go towards the wealth and in the freedom that you desire and that you really truly deserve. All right, so we've invested in 14 different markets across the US. So everything that we do remotely. We live in San Diego, but we do not invest in San Diego, right? When we're investing for cash flow, there's really not cash flow here unless you're talking about negative cash flow, all sorts of that, but that's not really our objective. So we go to markets that make sense to do that. Well, we also have 4 small kids, so we can be hopping on planes and flying all over the country to do our investing. So we've developed, well, even before we had kids, we've developed systems to allow us to live wherever we want, but to invest where it makes sense. All right, so that's one of our specialties. It's one of the things that also sets us apart, and we're going to really pass that knowledge on to you so that you can start to have the freedom that we have built for ourselves in our life. All right, so Jen is a leader. So Jen's the one on the left, I'm the one on the right. Jen was a leader in corporate America for 22 years, and she did investing as a side business just throughout her career, and then she was able to retire and focus solely on real estate. In our company, Jen is, say she's like the mindset coach. The thing you have to know about Jen is she's the most brilliant strategist I've ever met in my entire life. The brain on this woman will frighten you. She is just one of the smartest human beings I've ever known. And when it comes to strategy, both in how to run your business, how to interact with people, how to lead people, how to inspire people, how to influence, all of those different things, she brings all of that to our group and our mastermind. And so I'm very grateful and super excited that she's going to be here with us. And she's going to be, I do most of the real estate teaching because that's just like, that's my jam. I love teaching, and I love teaching real estate. And generally has a passion for helping people get unstuck, unblocked, and just powerfully moving into their business. And then further from there, really helping them with establishing incredible strategies for like big picture. So Jen's going to be teaching today on mindset and also on Thursday. And everyone always loves her pieces because they're amazing. All right, Stacy, that's me. I was a CPA originally. I got my CPA license, went into corporate America, worked up the ladder to CFO, and it was great. I love the challenge, but I'm so not a show up at 8 o'clock on time kind of person. Like Jen would have totally fired me if I worked for her. I would have got fired like 35 times. But anyway, I am not the type of person to show up to a job and have to report to someone. Like it just isn't a good fit. I just like, I have to do my own thing. And so for those of you who resonate with that, like I get it. And it's very difficult to be stuck in a box of showing up at a certain time and leaving a certain time. And when that's just not the way that you're wired. So anyway, I left corporate America in order to invest. And then I really truly got to follow what I'm the most passionate about in life, which is coaching investors. It says more than 10 years, but it's been more like 14 years. I've been coaching investors since 2006, 2007. And really it comes from a place of, I just don't want your journey to be as difficult as it was for me. And I'm gifted with the ability to break down difficult concepts in a way that you can understand. Even math, even for you, those of you who are like, oh my God, I hate numbers. I promise you by the end of the challenge, you're going to feel so empowered in a way that you can't even fathom yet. And so I'm very excited to share that with you. Anyway, so Jen and I brought our skills together and we created Warriors of Wealth. And it's Warriors of Wealth, real estate investing and coaching and mastermind. So we're really excited to be here with you and honored that you're spending the time to be here and let us just really speak into your life. All right, so there's a few things you're going to hear here and there throughout the challenge. And just if you're new in our Facebook group, it's going to come up. And in case you're not like, what are you even talking about? What's the Coliseum? Because our Facebook group isn't called Warriors of Wealth. It's called Multifamily Real Estate Investing because that is our focus. But the company behind this, our company, is Warriors of Wealth. And the way that we look at it is, look, welcome to the Coliseum, right? And let's go one step further. Oh, we love this movie. So let me ask you something. Who are you in this picture? Are you the people in the back, in the fuzzy people who are just watching everybody else get started in real estate and being like, man, I wish I was getting going, and I wish I was acquiring my first unit, my second unit, my first 10 units, etc. Are you just standing there wishing, or are you ready to step into the Coliseum and be a gladiator? Right? That is what we are here to do. And one of our masterminds is called the Apartment Gladiator Mastermind. And our 2 to 4 family mastermind is called our Cash Flow Coliseum. We are all about empowering you to take action. Of course, I have to educate you. But the thing, when Jen and I started this company, what we said was, look, there's lots of education companies out there. And frankly, what we hear over and over is nobody's ever getting any results. Well, the people that we've always coached have always got results over all of the years. And I think a big difference is that I'm not focused so much on, oh, let me just educate you so that I could check off a box. Okay, you're educated. It is all about what do we need to give them to get them over the hump of, I want to invest in real estate, to I am now investing in real estate. And that requires that you suit up, be a gladiator, and get in the game. And we are here to help you not only with the real estate knowledge, but the mental side of it as well, so that this can stop being on your wish list. All right, so question, how seriously do we take this?
Madness. This is Sparta!
All right, real quickly, I want to introduce you to our team. It is not just Jen and I. We have an incredible team. We would never be able to pull this off, just 2 of us. There's a lot of people behind the scenes who are making this happen. So let me introduce you to them. Well, there's us. You already know us. All right, that's me on the left, Jen on the right. We are Jen and Stacy. Then there is Natasha. Natasha is our strategist. She's also a member of our mastermind. But if you are ever on a call and exploring what your options are to get more help or to get coaching or just have a strategy session, Natasha's the one you're going to be talking to. Michael, who all of you are going to connect with this week, he is one who is our absolute first frontline communicator to get you what you need, ask you questions, and just help you along in your journey. Our marketing team. So it starts with Mamoon. So, one of the feedback we get from people, and it cracks me up, is they're like, it seems like you guys are everywhere all the time. I'll be on YouTube or on LinkedIn or Instagram and Facebook, and you guys are everywhere. Well, we don't know how to do that, but Mamoon does. So you can thank him for us being everywhere and easily accessible for you. And then Jordan has been such an amazing addition to our team. So all of those emails you get, and they're just so interesting and so well written. I was like, man, Jordan, I have so much I want to share with these emails, but like writing emails is not my strong suit. Anyway, so I'd say this is what I want to communicate, and you guys get the benefit of getting to read the most interesting laid out things, and Jordan is the one who's behind that. Also, when you have our landing pages, like the bonus pages and all of that, well, actually both Mamoon and Jordan help us with that. So this is our marketing team, and they are absolutely amazing. We have our coaching team. We have Coach Kimberly, Coach Joe, and Coach Damon. So for those of you who are end up in or already in our mastermind and you have one-on-one coaching, these are our 3 coaches who do all of our one-on-one training. So we are so excited. And of course, I do coaching also, and Jen does coaching also on mindset. So there's really 5 of us on the coaching team, and we all have a huge passion for your success. All right, and then we have Kevin and Daria and Saraha. So a lot of what you see here, just in the preparation of it, the videos, the PowerPoint, the pretty canvas, these are some of the people that are behind the scenes and making everything go from, we have an idea, to, wow, that looks amazing. That is them. So I thank all of our team. Anyway, we're just very grateful that we've compiled the most amazing group of people that we can come and serve you guys. All right, this week's curriculum. What are we going to be covering? Today, we are going to be covering the foundation of the BRRRR strategy. All right. And we're going to be talking about basically kind of 18 different segments, 18 different separate and distinct steps that you're going to be going through as you go through a BRRRR deal. So that's why I was like, grab a pen and paper, because that's going to be kind of a heavy piece that we're going to be getting into here in a couple of minutes. All right, so the foundation of BRRRR investing, just the benefits of doing that particular strategy, like why do you even want to do that strategy, and really helping you establish your why and your reason for doing all of this. Day 2, tomorrow, is going to be lead generation. So lead generation is about creating deal flow. And for us, we say deal flow is properties sent to us, fixer-upper properties with comps. So tomorrow, that's what we're going to be covering, how to do that. And then you're going to get into action immediately and start working on it. Day 3, we're going to be covering everything about financing your BRRRR deals and really breaking down some of the calculations around that. Day 4 is going to be analyzing deals and making offers. So lots of number crunching, but again, I'm going to lay it out in such a systematic A to Z way that by the end of the day, you'll be like, wow, why did I always think this is so hard? This isn't hard. Well, it actually is hard, but when you have someone that can break it piece by piece and it all starts to come together, then all of a sudden it becomes very doable. And that is my goal for you. On day 4, we're also going to be covering mindset, routines, and goal setting. And Jen's going to be doing that. And it's one of everyone's favorite parts of every challenge is really that section, because it's like, I can teach you all the technical stuff all day long, but if you don't have proper routines in place, if you don't have goal setting, if you don't have the right mindset, it doesn't matter how much real estate we teach you, right? And then day 5 is going to be pulling all of the pieces together so you can really see the whole system A to Z, and basically helping you create your path to freedom plan. All right, let's cover how to win the $7,997 scholarship. Well, first of all, I guess I realized I don't think I put a slide in here to cover let's go back here to cover what is the scholarship for? So the scholarship is for an opportunity to participate and be a part of the Cash Flow Coliseum Mastermind for 12 weeks and getting access to the the remote passive income real estate investing course that's hosted on Kajabi during that 12 weeks. That course has, I think, around 130 videos, and it is literally every imaginable detail, A to Z, of the entire journey through doing cash flow real estate, right? And the BRRRR strategy is a big part of that, right? So that's what the scholarship is. You're going to get 3 months in our mastermind, and it is the most incredible networking opportunity, and you will learn more than you can possibly imagine. And if you're an action taker, which if you win the scholarship, you're an action taker. I already know that. But once you get in there, it's go time, and it's time to start getting to work and getting your first property. All right. So I'm not going to go through all these things because all this information is on your self-scoring tally sheet. But the gist of it is the scholarship is based on a point system. Only one person can win it. All right. But every day there's points assigned to everything. So every day your homework if you complete your homework and you post it on the homework post, you get 2 points. You have to post it by midnight if you want to get the 2 points. All right. And in order to win the scholarship, the one thing you absolutely must do is you have to finish all of the homework assignments. So that's one thing you got to make sure you're focusing. That's your top priority. But the scholarship is actually based on points. So every day, not only are we going to have that, but we're also going to have a whole bunch of different things you can do for extra credit. So for example, I won't go through all of them, but for example, today, if you haven't already, we want you to share the 5-day challenge on your personal profile. So you can't share it out of the group because Facebook doesn't allow that. So I created a separate event, 5-day challenge event that's public to Facebook. And the link is in the self-scoring tally sheet. So we want you to go and share that on your personal profile and just say something about it. This is part of you getting out to the world that, hey, this is what I'm doing. And that's where you start to attract potential partners, private money lenders, et cetera, to you. All right. We want to have you subscribe to our YouTube channel so that when when we post content, which is practically all the time, you're getting notified so that you can benefit from all of the free education that we provide. All right. And we're going to have you go to the events section of Facebook and register for the Ask Us Anything for the next 4 weeks. All right. And I'll talk more about that in the homework. But anyway, so there's a whole list of different things that you could do to earn extra credit points. Now, we oftentimes will have everybody do all the points, which is amazing. It's just, there's so much benefit you get, and it helps us to get the word out about Warriors of Wealth. And the more people that know about us, the more people we can help. The thing that usually ends up separating or kind of popping out the winner of the scholarship is In addition to all the other points, we also have up to 10 points. So it's between 1 and 10 points for whoever is the top contributor in the group for the week. So, and Facebook makes this very easy because they have a section for us, like analytics section for us to look at so we can see who's the top contributor. But anyway, whoever is the top contributor at the end of, basically at the end of business or the end of probably midnight on Thursday, on Friday morning, we will see who that is. And that person will get 10 bonus points. The person who's the second top contributor will get 9. Then the next person will get 8, 7, 6, 5, etc., down to 1. So in the past, all the people who've been the scholarship winner have done all of the bonus points and been interacting in the group. The reason we want you to do that is for a number of reasons. One, it keeps you totally engaged, which is going to help your success. It's going to help you keep your head in the game, and it lets you network. You get to know other people. You get to encourage other people. They get to encourage you. You start sharing information, exchanging information. Like, it's crazy. Our Facebook group goes crazy during challenge week, and we love it. And we're really excited for you guys, and we really want to help you connect. And so we basically create bonus points for you to do that. The one thing I will tell you, because it came up last time and we were like, oh, didn't think to tell them that. The posts, when you make a post in the group, it does have to be related to real estate. So if you're like, oh, what's your favorite thing about Wednesday? We're not going to approve that post. Okay. So every post that's made, we have to approve it. So we're going to read it, make sure it's related in some way to real estate or the challenge or something. And then we will approve it. All right. So just keep it on point and focused on the topic at hand. All right. And then on day 5, the scholarship winner will be chosen and announced. So anyway, that's a scholarship. Everyone has so much fun. It's completely exhausting and amazing. And this is going to change your life. We're excited for you. All right. So let's get into day 1, the BRRRR Investing Foundation. Okay. So some of the benefits of using the BRRRR strategy, BRRRR stands for buy, renovate, rent, and refinance. Okay, so we're talking about buying fixer-uppers. All right, so some of the benefits is, for one, you're starting to build your long-term wealth. Yes, you're buying fixer-uppers, but you're not keeping them in that condition, right? You're renovating them, which is increasing the value of them. So you're starting to build your long-term wealth. You're also improving neighborhoods, because any neighborhood that has a dog of a property on it, the neighbors are like, oh my gosh, I wish somebody would fix that up. Okay, and that's one of the things that you get to do, and it really makes a difference for real people in their real life. Some other benefits for you is you're creating equity, because the idea when you're doing the BRRRR strategy is you're buying it low, like you're buying it at a discount so that you could renovate it and then increase the value because you have renovated it. All right, so we're not basically trying to, let's say if it's worth 120,000, we're not trying to buy it for 100 and put 20,000 into it, right? We want to try to buy it for, a lower amount, like, 60 or 70,000, and put 20 or 30 into it. And then it's worth 120. And because of that, now we've created equity. And once we have it rented out and we've refinanced, we have passive income, we have passive cash flow. So in one transaction, you create equity and passive cash flow. It's one of the most popular strategies out there. It's definitely one of our favorites. Because of the refinance side, or the refinance part of the strategy, it allows you to reuse some of your original investment. So it's kind of like the golden egg, right? Oh, not the golden egg. I wrote golden egg, the golden goose, right? It keeps producing golden eggs. So what happens is let's say you're buying it for 60,000 and you're going to put 30,000 into it. You're probably going, unless you have a lot of cash, you're probably going to finance it with a hard money lender. Well, you're going to put down a down payment, and the hard money lender is going to fund a portion of the purchase and probably all of the rehab. That's not uncommon. But that amount that you initially put down on the property and whatever points and different fees you paid, when you refinance, the idea is to be able to pull some or all, if you've really done your numbers well, some or all of that money back out of the deal. So then you have cash again to go do this again. Then you finish your transaction, you pull it out and you do it again. So it's a really popular transaction because you can literally start with one bucket of money and then do property after property after property. All right. Another benefit is your physical location can be anywhere. You can be wherever you want to be. It could be in Italy if you like, on vacation. You could be on a cruise ship. Well, it's just, the main thing you need is you need to have an internet connection. All right. So wherever you can be in the world where you have an internet connection, you can be there because everything is done remotely. And the properties you purchase can also be anywhere. All right. Now, our experience is all in the US. So when I say anywhere, what I actually mean is anywhere in the US. Now, that doesn't mean that the strategy can't be done in other countries. It might. We don't have the experience doing it. So we don't teach anything that we don't have personal experience doing, because there could be, there could be little intricacies that we just don't know about and we couldn't warn you about. All right. So when I'm talking about this, I am talking about in the US. If you are looking to buy properties outside the US, then you can take everything we're teaching you here as a basis and then go start asking some questions locally there to make sure that everything works the same. And if something doesn't work the same, then you can start digging into what's different and how do you adjust. Okay. And then your lenders and or partners, if you have partners, can be either local or remote. It doesn't matter where they are either. All right. So, I mean, this is some of just the visual benefits. You get to take ugly, nasty dog properties and make them into something really beautiful and nice to look at. And the whole thing is with the BRRRR strategy, right? You do one, and then you refinance, pull out your money, and then you do another, and then you refinance, pull out your money, and you do another, refinance, pull out your money, do another, and another, and another, and another, right? And it just, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It allows you to just keep going and building. All right, so let's get into the foundation. So the BRRRR strategy is, it's basically a 4-step strategy: buy, renovate, rent, and refinance, right? Well, we have to renovate before we rent. Otherwise renters wouldn't want to live there. Or if they did, they wouldn't pay very much, right? We have to rent before we refinance, because when we go to refinance, the banks are going to want to see that this is a performing property. Okay, so everything is done in a very specific order. And everything that we teach you during this challenge is going to be taught from the standpoint of assuming that you are doing it remotely. Now, if you happen to live in a market where you can do this where you live because the numbers work, cool. But I still want you to think with the mindset of doing it remotely, because even if your market works, the more you learn how to do things remotely, the more you're going to be stepping into more of a project management and using a team instead of doing things yourself. And that will start to create time freedom for you and also location freedom. All right. So the first thing you have to do as you're doing the BRRRR strategy is you need to figure out which market you're going to be investing in. So you have to do market research, and market research is going to be making sure that the population is at least steady, and ideally, I was going to say improving, but they're not improving. It's the opposite of decline, going up. Anyway, I want to make sure that the population is increasing. That's the word. So we want to make sure that the population is steady. If we're in a market where the population is declining, at some point it's going to be problematic if you're trying to rent units and there's just fewer people available to do it, which then could potentially drive down rents because now there's more landlords competing for a smaller pool of people. So you want to be in an area where the population is steady. Also, you want to make sure that there's good, solid, positive job growth in the area. You want to make sure that the areas are friendly towards business and that they're doing what they can to attract new businesses to the area. You also want to make sure that the area you're working in is one that makes sense for the 1% rule. Okay, and the 1% rule it's not an analysis tool. So don't ever make an offer using the 1% rule, because it's not an analysis tool. The 1% rule is relevant for when you are trying to identify whether a market even makes sense. So for example, we live in San Diego, and if I'm going to determine whether San Diego is a 1% market or not, what I do is I look at a house. Okay, well, how much is a house? A house is, let's say, in a really, really basic neighborhood, $700,000, right? So $700,000. And then I look at the market rents and I say, okay, so I could rent that $700,000 house out for $3,000. All right. That is not a 1% market. If it was, that house that I'm renting for $3,000, I would be able to get $7,000 a month. Okay. So it's basically you take 1% of the purchase price, and that needs to be the monthly rent in order to go any further in saying, okay, yeah, that's a cash flow market. We could probably make it work. Now, when you actually write offers, which we're going to talk about on Thursday, and you're crunching your numbers, you're going to actually do like a full-on analysis when you're making your offer. But there's really no point in making offers if you're trying to go for cash flow in markets where the prices are just too far away from what the rents are. And so they're not going to cash flow. Okay. So 1%, let me give you an example that you can kind of wrap your mind around. Let's say that it's a market where you can buy a duplex for $150,000, right? So you're buying the duplex for $150,000, And a duplex is a property that has 2 units in it, and each unit rents for $750. So the total rent for the property is $1,500, which is 1% of the 150,000. So that I'd say, okay, that's probably a cash flow market. All right. So anyway, market research is going to be important so that you're picking the right market to do everything else that you're going to be doing in it. All right. The next thing is building your team. So the team that you're building, and what we're talking about is building a team of professionals that are local to that market. All right. So if I'm looking at St. Louis, Missouri, I'm going to be looking for realtors, contractors, home inspectors, property managers, title companies in St. Louis. All right. Usually the insurance person on our team doesn't have to be local to the market, but for sure the realtors, the general contractors, the home inspectors, and the property managers do. And then usually the title is at least located in the same state. Right. So we're going to be building our team remotely who are right there on the ground. And that's part of why we can do this and we don't have to go be there because they're there. And it's our job to lead them through the process of what we need. All right, next step in the system is creating deal flow. So this is what we're going to be focusing on tomorrow. So the realtors are going to be the important part of your team for this section. When I say creating deal flow, I don't just mean having a whole bunch of properties showing up in your inbox. What I'm going to teach you how to do tomorrow is communicate to the realtor and tell them, this is specifically what I need in such a way that it's going to get you properties coming in with comps. And when they don't come in with comps with that you need, how do you handle that conversation so that you can get them to send you what you need in order for you to write an offer? All right, the next step in the process is calculating the right offer. So you're going to go through, you're going to crunch all your numbers. And when you come up with the number that you're like, this is the amount I can pay that would make the deal work. That's the next step. And then of course you are submitting your offer through your realtor. And we will talk about calculating the right offer and submitting your offer on day 4 on Thursday. All right, next step in the process is due diligence. So let's say you've made your offer and it gets accepted. If you've made an offer and it doesn't get accepted, then there's nothing else for you to do with it. And trust me when I say you're going to do a lot of that. You're going to make a lot of offers that don't get accepted. Cool. Don't waste any time on them then, right? But when you do get one accepted, that's when you're going to do due diligence. So with due diligence, what we're talking about is getting your rehab numbers together, getting your home inspection, verifying your after renovation value, verifying your market rents. Okay. So due diligence is basically all the things that you're not going to spend a ton of time digging into a property that you don't even have under contract, because frankly, while you're spending time going through all of those details, Jen and I are just writing the offer knowing we have an inspection period, right? So we want to teach you how to think like that. Don't do all the due diligence ahead of time. You don't even know if you have a deal yet. So you crunch your basic numbers and then you make your offer. If it's accepted, then we're going to go through and really dig in and make sure every T is crossed and every I is dotted and that we know everything we need to know about the deal so we know whether we can move forward or not. All right. So part of that, when you're doing the BRRR strategy specifically, is making sure that you're always getting at least 3 rehab quotes. All right. Renovation it's just without a doubt, it's just one of the most challenging parts of our business. And one of the mistakes that people will make oftentimes in the beginning is getting like 1 quote or 2 quotes. You need to get at least 3. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, well, all contractors have different pricing, right? So you have different contractors with different pricing. The other thing is you have 3 different sets of people putting their eyes on the property. And there are 3 sets of people who are qualified, right? They're licensed, experienced general contractors. So when you have 3 different sets of eyes all looking at your property, you're going to find that the rehab bids that come in are different, which seems shocking because didn't they all see the same property? Yes, they did. But different people are going to notice different things. And I'll give you an example of this. Let's say you're looking at your quotes and one of the quotes is like quite a bit higher. And you realize by looking at it, oh, it's because they added windows on there. And there's, $7,000 of windows. And you're like, whoa, okay. I wonder what's up with that. So you might call that GC and say, I noticed on your bid, you included windows. And I had another GC who did not include windows. And I was curious, did you feel like the windows were bad? And they might say, well, yeah, absolutely. They need to be replaced. And here's why. Or they might say, you know what? I actually wasn't sure what you wanted to do. So I just threw it in there, but I mean, they seem okay. If you want to leave them, I don't see any reason why you'd have to swap them out. Okay, it's like it depends on what your strategy is. When you're flipping property for aesthetic purposes, at a minimum, you might have to switch out the windows. But with rental properties, not necessarily. But if they're working, they're in good shape, you don't need to replace them. So anyway, having different rehab quotes allows you to get the perspective of different people, so you can ask questions, and you might end up picking one of the contractors who didn't include windows, but based on your conversation with the one who did, you might say, you know what, I'm not trying to replace all the windows, but could you take a look at the ones in this part of the house, because what I've been told is, looks like those could be replaced. All right, so getting those extra rehab quotes gives you more information so that you could make a decision that is more complete, and you're not caught off guard and surprised when you're in the rehab and, oh, hey, this new thing comes up. All right, so once you get your rehab quotes, if you need to, then the next step will be renegotiating the price, right? So we have a price reduction training that we did earlier in the year, and basically shows you how to go back and renegotiate the contract if you need to. So if you need to is really tied to, if you were just plugging in a rehab number of, let's say, 25,000 when you were writing your offer, and then you get the rehab quotes back and you realize it's going to be more like 35,000. Well, the offer you made was based on 25,000 of rehab, and that's where it worked. But at 35,000, it really doesn't work. So in that case, you need to go back and go to the seller and essentially say, look, I'm really interested in the property. We like it, but what we found is that there's more wrong with the property than we thought. And so for that reason, we can't pay the price that we originally offered, but we're still willing to move forward and close on the property in the same amount of time if you'd be willing to come down by, X amount. All right, so that's the price negotiation process. And frankly, if they say no, then you have a decision to make. If the deal is you still like it, even with the higher numbers, then cool, you move forward. And if not, then you say, okay, well, thank you very much. And you basically back out of the deal and get your earnest money deposit back. Okay, that's how that process works. All right, next step. And actually, this depends. You don't have to do an investor packet, but if you're ever trying to bring on a partner, or if you just want to impress the heck out of your lender, you put together an investor packet. We've done a training on that as well. So basically the investor packet just talks all about the deal, the numbers, the due diligence you've done on it, et cetera. And it's just a really professional presentation that in one small document has all of the information that someone would need to make a decision about whether they want to invest with you or partner with you or lend to you. All right. And then next, we're talking about financing your deal. So we'll talk all about financing on day 3 on Wednesday, but it's very common in the world of doing the BRRRR strategy to finance your purchase using a hard money loan. And that is because conventional banks don't fund fixer uppers. It's not in their charter. They're not allowed to do it. They're considered risky assets for them. Well, hard money lenders, that's literally what they do. That's their whole thing, is lending on fixer-upper properties that can't be financed in other ways. So we're going to talk a lot about hard money on Wednesday, and how do you calculate it? How do you compare one lender to another? What questions do you even ask? So we're going to go through all that, and then we'll also talk about financing from the standpoint of when you go to refinance after the project is done. All right. After you've got your financing lined up, so the typical time frame of a deal is you write your offer, you probably ask for about 10 days of your inspection period, which you would treat as your due diligence period, and your typical closing period is about 30 days. So once your due diligence is done, that's 10 days, and you have about 20 days left to close. So ideally, you would have got your financing started when you were, maybe halfway through due diligence, so they can start pulling all the documents together. Pre-closing is that time in between the end of your due diligence and the time you actually close. And the graphic I chose it's like herding cats, because it is. So you are you're like the central gravity. It pulls everything together, but you're going to be coordinating your lender, the insurance, the title company, possibly your realtor, coordinating with your GC for scheduling, getting your utilities scheduled to be turned on. There's all these things that happen. During that pre-closing period, there's a lot of last minute requests of you from the title company, from your lender, sometimes from your insurance. And sometimes your lender wants you to have a specific kind of insurance, and your insurance does it, but they don't check X box. So you're literally going back and forth, but pulling it all together. A mistake that I see some people make is like, okay, well, I mean, I'm just waiting for closing. No, you are the one who's leading this entire thing. And I promise you, nobody cares about your deal more than you do. And so it's very common for deals to end up closing late, 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 late. And if you want it to not close late and close on time, you have to be on top of everything. So making sure, does the lender have what they need, and double checking, and insurance, you have what you need, and is the insurance right for the lender, and title, is there anything that they need? And it's really common, like you're supposed to be closing that day and your title company be like, oh, we need a copy of your LLC. Really? Like you couldn't have told me that 3 weeks ago when you first got the file. So it's very common to do that. So you just have to be prepared the few days before closing for really sheer chaos. And the more on top of it you can be, and the better you can be about leading your team through it, the smoother it will go. But closings aren't typically smooth, and they're usually pretty frustrating if you don't recognize that that's just a normal part of the process. And once you do, once you're like, oh, that's just how it is, you can relax a little bit, but you'll be more, if you're more proactive in getting things done, it will just make your whole life and experience easier. Okay, so anyway, that's pre-closing. All right, so during pre-closing, some of the other things that you're doing is you're vetting your GC and you're getting all of your rehab prep done. So hopefully everybody here was able to attend our masterclass last week that we did on managing rehab, and I think it was managing general contractors and rehab. We did it was actually a really long class. We did an 1.5-hour class with another hour of Q&A, and it was everything about rehabbing, because I mean, that in and of itself, we could build an entire course around. There's a lot to it. And we're not even talking about putting your hands on it or even going there. It's just, you got to make sure that you have everything in place to mitigate risk of you losing money or getting ripped off. And we have a very succinct system for doing that. And that's what we talked about and taught last Wednesday in that masterclass. So if you didn't get a chance to see that, make sure you connect with Michael and ask him for the link. Although I don't even think the link is out yet. I think it's supposed to get published on YouTube today or tomorrow. But anyway, make sure you reach out to Michael if you didn't get a chance to see that class, so he can get that to you as soon as we have it available. All right, but anyway, you're vetting your GCs. You're getting like their license and their insurance, and you're getting your scope of work done, and the draw schedule, and your GC contract, like everything. You're pulling it all together. You want to do that before you close, because once you're closed, I mean, ideally the next day you got people in there working on demo and working on the property. So you can't wait until after it's closed to start putting these things in place. But I felt like it kind of required a little bit of special mention, aside from all the normal pre-closing stuff, because all that pre-closing stuff is normal on any deal, even if it's not a rehab. All that craziness is going on. But in a rehab, you have this on top of it. So you got to be organized and on top of your stuff, and just know what you need to be preparing for. All right, and then we do closing remotely. So, again, I told you everything we're going to teach you is going to be about how to do it without being there. So a remote closing, what that looks like is your title company. So first of all, you've got to tell the title company in advance that you're closing remotely. Otherwise, that's not typical. Most title companies are selling or are doing title work for homeowners. Well, homeowners live there, and so they're just going in person and signing. So if you're not closing there, you have to tell them in far enough advance that they can get all the paperwork done early. So what happens is one of two things, and it depends on two different parties. It could be the title company that drives this. It could be the lender. So one way could be that the title company just emails you a file, a PDF file. It's going to be a whole bunch of pages, and you basically print it, and then there's going to be a whole bunch of signatures that have to be done, and a handful of those signatures will need to be notarized. So then you would go take those documents to your local bank or your UPS store or wherever you can get it notarized, and get those documents notarized. And then you'll take the like the FedEx or the UPS shipping label that the title company will have included in that PDF package, and you basically overnight it back to them. All right, so that's one way. Another way, which seems to be more common these days, but they're both reasonable and common, is using a mobile notary. So a mobile notary, the purpose of doing that is that it keeps, from their standpoint, it keeps the documents from being in the lender's hand or in the borrower's hands. because if they're in the borrower's hands, then technically someone could change something. Now, I don't know who would do that, but so if the lender or the title company is particularly conservative, they might require a mobile notary. So the way that works is they do the same thing. They email the file to the mobile notary. The mobile notary calls you, schedules a time. They come to your house, your business, or your garage, or wherever you are, the park, and you give them your license. They take your thumbprint and they basically notarize with you right there, but they always retain control of the documents. And then they'll give you a stack of papers that's basically a copy of everything that you just signed, but they will keep it. They'll go notarize everything, and then they will FedEx it or UPS it back to the title company. All right. So that's how remote closing happens. And if you've never heard of it before, sometimes you're like, how on earth I'm going to have to fly there? Nope. We never fly to the places that we have properties. And if we ever, like, if we happen to be in a market where we have property, we might, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. We might happen to, like, well, cool, we'll go swing by, but most of the time we don't even have the opportunity to do that. And it frankly just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you're physically located, right? Our business runs without us physically being where the rental property is. All right. And remote closing is no different. All right. And then after your closing is done, congratulations. It's a bouncing baby fixer-upper. Yay. All right. But of course, that's not the end of it, right? Because that's just the B. That's the buy. All right. So what's next? Next is the R. Buy, renovate. Okay, so in this section, or this next step, we're doing the rehab, and we're going through the process of the draw process. So when we're dealing with a hard money lender, we're turning in all the paperwork, and all of this is stuff we covered in the masterclass, the Managing Contractors Masterclass. So we went super, super deep and detailed in all of that. So if you didn't see that, you definitely want to do that, and if you want to understand this piece more. All right, so we're going through the rehab, we're doing the draws, and we're basically taking the rehab across the finish line. Once that's done, we are hiring a professional property management company, and we're getting, advertising the property, screening tenants, getting a lease in place, and then putting renters in place. All right, so that's the second R. And then the final R is, of course, the refinance. And like I said, on Wednesday, we will talk more about that part of the financing. All right. Okay, so that's the foundation. That's just like, okay, those are all the pieces. You can see, like, real estate, sometimes people say, oh, real estate investing, that sounds fun. It is sometimes it's not fun at all. But you know what? At the end of the day, there's nothing that will ever pay you more than this long term. There's no Social Security, there's no retirement plan. There's nothing that anyone else can ever do for you that will pay you anywhere near what you can make and create for yourself when you're empowered with this knowledge, and you'll actually take action. All right. So anyway, it's a great strategy. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be deep diving over the 5-day challenge into 4 different sections. The first, which we're about to get into here shortly, is knowing your why. And I will self-disclose that I used to be one of those. I, to some degree, still am, except I believe it very strongly for real estate investing. My background was, accounting. And so everything is very black and white. And I'm not really the, foo-foo, woo-woo type of person. Like, that's not my natural personality. And so anytime I be in a seminar or anything, I'm like, oh God, here we go. You got to know your why, blah, 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 blah. But here's the reality. Here's what I found about real estate investing. First of all, it ain't easy. There's nothing easy about it. Some of it's simple in theory, but when you go to do it, there's like all these different things that come up, and you have to be creative and resourceful and thick-skinned, and really you have to know why you're doing it, because there's times you're going to be like, you know what? Forget this. This is too difficult. I don't know what to do, and just forget about it. But wow, you are really shortchanging yourself in your life and your future if you give up. And that's not, like, we're just not about that. So it's really, really important that you know your why. And that's why we're going to spend some time on getting there today, and really having you anchor to what that reason is, so that when things are scary or difficult, you can come back to that. All right. We're also going to be deep diving into lead generation, financing, and analyzing deals and making offers. Of course, on Friday, We will then be going through like the entire process and covering a little bit more depth, some of the areas we didn't get to deep dive into. But frankly, the areas that we've chosen to deep dive into, these are the areas that really hang up about 80% of people, and it keeps them from ever getting started. So we're gonna take those most difficult things that people ever have, like getting over the hump, and we're gonna go deep on those so that you don't have to be stuck anymore and you can get going. All right. So next, we're going to be talking about what is your why, and I'm going to hand the reins over to our fearless leader, Jen Conkey, and she's going to take it from here.
Wow, this is quite the setup you have here. I just had to transition from my desk to Stacy's desk. This should be fun. Okay, so you get the woo-woo warrior here. I'm all the woo. She's all the boo. I'm just kidding. Okay, so what's your why? I really want to dive into this because knowing your why it's a big deal, especially because on day 4, I'm going to get very into how to plan, like how to cast your goals, long-term goals, short-term goals, and then how to plan at a very descriptive and overly prescriptive level for yourself. And it's going to be a really good time. So make sure you're here for day 4. Okay, so knowing your why. Let's just go ahead and get right into this and just right up front. This business is super simple, but it's not easy. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. We've broken the system that we use for investing down into 4 very simple, comprehensible steps. When it comes to implementing them, there are challenges that come along the way and a lot of hurdles. And you'll hear me refer to it as the investor roller coaster, right? So it's like the deal is dead, the deal is alive, the deal is dead, the deal is alive. You go through this really cool process where you're acquiring deals and going through this whole process and being excited about it. Then you get one under contract and then you're like, hell yeah, it's time for due diligence. And then you close on one and you're like, shit, now what? Or you might not even get to that part yet, and you're going through due diligence and you're just overcoming hurdle after hurdle. And as you can imagine, that gets pretty taxing. So one of the things that gets you through that is being very strongly associated to your why. And when I say your why, some of you out there are like, what is this broad talking about? What does she mean? Like, what is my why? Like, what the hell? What I mean is why you got started, why you do it now, why you keep going. And it literally, if we all sit down and just ask ourselves that question, you're really the only one in the entire world that knows the real answer. You know the real answer on why you want to do this. Like, are you doing it because you want financial freedom? Are you doing it because you want location and time freedom? Are you doing it because you're trying to leave a legacy? Are you doing it because you're trying to prove it to yourself that you can do it? Or, I mean, are you doing it because you're proving it to others? You have your why when you answer it, like, why did I get started in this? Or why do I even want to get started in this? And am I sure I want to get started in this? You ask yourself why about 5 times and you'll get down to the root meaning, like the absolute motivation on what's driving you. Once you've identified that, and you will go through that process, once you've identified that, you will be able to stay associated to it and remind yourself why you started, why you're doing it. So that when you're facing those times where you're super tired or frustrated or scared, or you might have people in your life that just can't see where you're going or what your actual vision is, or that it's even an opportunity or possible, right? It's just like when things are hard, sometimes you got to sit down and think about, why did I even start? Why do I even want to continue? And it's got to be a strong fucking why. Sorry for the F-bomb. We can edit that out later. No, we won't. So I really want you to think about why at a very deep level. Okay. And that's really going to get us set up for day 4. So get that going for yourself, because as we get into day 4, I'm going to be talking to you about your goals. So when we talk about goals, I really want you to know, like, what are your long-term goals and what are your short-term goals? Now, for me, long-term goals is like 20 years. In 20 years, I know with absolute clarity and certainty that I want to have 4 different destination locations where I own property outside of the US, and I can travel there and stay in my property while I'm living it up in that area, right? Well, the thing is that investing outside of the US is not part of our current business model. So I've got to do some shit to get myself ready for that, right? So on the 12-month side, that's short-term goals. On the 12-month side, I got to think about, what do I need to do repetitively to get to that goal and achieve it? Well, for us, we break things down. We know on 20-year plan what we want to do, right? And there's like, we know exactly what that is and what it feels like, what it looks like. We write it out in our manifestations and we have a very super clear vision on it. But action is what's going to get us there. Like we can sit here and hope is a method, but it's not entirely effective to sit here with our fingers crossed and be like, hell yeah, I want to do that. I'm so excited. And all the positive vibes in the world won't get you there without the action. So we take a 12-month view and we break it up into 4 quarters and we literally implement a 90-day plan. We achieve our shit 90 days at a time. And in those 90 days, we think about what are the daily and weekly activities that we have to do consistently in order to achieve our goals this quarter. And every quarter is like the rung of a ladder. So when we reach that first quarter, it's like we're climbing this ladder, and this ascension ladder is, I'm going to have 20 freaking 12-month ladders, right? And within each ladder, there's 4 rungs. It's the 90-day plan, the 90-day approach. And it's super important to remember that it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And I do want to make a comment on this really quick. As humans right now in today's society, we are just wired for instant gratification, right? We didn't get enough tummy time as babies. And so we want what we want. We want it now. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as there's a balance, because if I want what I want and I want it now, I'm probably going to 10x my effort to get it. But you have to balance perseverance and mindset with that, because we can work our asses off and sometimes it just won't show up. And when it's not showing up the way we want, we have to go back and figure out what actions do we need to adjust? What do we need to do to get our vibration back up? And by the way, why did I start this again? Why do I want to do this? And get reacclimated to all of those things so that we know why we're doing it, so we can stay in that grind, stay in perpetual motion, and stay going and chasing that carrot. One of the things that happens, Stacy and I are human too. So there are definitely moments where we'll be like, shit, I'm just not feeling it. I'm not into it. And one of our biggest business tools is we watch The Secret. If you haven't seen this movie, I highly recommend that you do. You can find it on Netflix. You can find it on YouTube, but it's a fun watch actually. I mean, I'm woo woo, so I really like this shit, but it's a cool video. It talks about a 3-step process where you're basically manifesting what you want. And it's also super cool because it walks you through and helps you realize when your thoughts become things. So if your thoughts are negative, you're going to be getting the results you don't want. And whether you want it or not, if you're thinking about debt, debt's what's coming, right? So instead, you got to think about the things that you want and use language about the things that you want. And your thoughts will turn into positive thoughts, positive words, positive actions, and it'll get you into the results that you want. So I really encourage you guys, go watch this. It's not part of the challenge where you have to watch it anymore. Go watch it though. Stacy and I watch it once a month. And if I see that she's feeling a little low, I'll be like, I think we need to watch The Secret and pop your ass above the line. Or if I'm feeling down, she'll say the same thing. I think we need to watch The Secret and pop your ass above the line, right? So you got to have a pop your ass above the line accountability partner that will get you back into high vibration. So check The Secret out if you haven't seen it. If you have seen it, go watch it again anyways and just get yourself reoriented. We watch it once a month, and then if we need to, we'll increase it and spice it up a little bit. So most of you don't know, but I'll let you know. Most of you do know. I don't know. I am a certified NLP master practitioner of NLP and hypnotherapy. And so it's basically just a fancy fucking way of saying I'm a mindset coach. And so I prefer just to say mindset coach because all that other shit is just a bunch of words. So, but what I do as a coach, as a mindset coach in the real estate world is I like to help people stay focused, because you are going to encounter hurdles and challenges. And that's exactly what I want you to say. They're hurdles and challenges. They're not problems. They're hurdles and challenges, because a hurdle you can jump over, go around, walk over, knock over, do whatever. Challenge, same thing. It's like you're going to put the pieces of the puzzle together and solve it. It's not a problem where we need to go stick our head in the sand and run away. We're all wired for fight or flight. And Stacy and I are hardwired for fight. We are absolute warriors. If we run into a challenge or a hurdle, like I feel sorry for it, because I pity the fool that stands in the way of us trying to get what we want. We're going to figure out how to go around it. And so you have to kind of be a warrior, but at the same time, be the water. If you think about a mountain and water, the mountain is not going anywhere, right? But over a long enough timeline, the water is consistently flowing through it. Over years and consistent daily action, you get the fucking Grand Canyon, right? So you just have to be the water, but yet be a warrior and be persistent and persevere through stuff. Well, what I do is every month, 2 times a month, I give back to the community and I do 2 free warrior mindset calls where I get everybody on a Zoom that wants to come. And it's the first and third Monday. Tonight happens to be it's the third Monday of the month. So you can come see me, go register at the event. But what we do at this event is basically, I taught everybody in January, we called it January, taught everybody how to map out the year and then broke it down into a 90-day plan. They went through all of January. We're now in February. It's not February, it's fabulous February. And now we are talking about like, how did last week go? What is this? What are the goals for this month? What does next week look like? What are your routines and habits that you need to adjust or plan for? And then get into that action. And so every 2 weeks we meet and I keep everybody on track for what they're going through on their plan. And if they have any type of mental hurdle, I'll try as hard as I can to pop people over the line, even if I have to do it individually. 2 weeks ago, we rewired our minds to go from procrastination to resourcefulness. Tonight, we're really just going to get into what does the plan look like? And if anybody's struggling out there, we're going to talk about it, but we're also going to be talking about our why and getting through it. So definitely come and check it out. So that way I can see your face, get to know you, and you can ask questions there. Mindset questions only. We don't answer real estate questions on that call. Mindset questions only. So if you've got some baggage or some hurdles or some shit that's keeping you stuck, just come visit me. Okay. And now I'm going to pass it back over to Stacy because she's going to go over what the homework and stuff is, I believe. Yeah, I think so. So I'm going to go ahead and give her her remarkable workstation back, and I'll see you guys tonight.
All right. Oh, I hope you guys take advantage of it. We've never had it where we had a challenge during the same time that we had a warrior mindset training. And that was actually the main reason I didn't require the secret this time. Every time the challenge, I require that you guys watch it. But if you can get to the Warrior Mindset Monday, and if you can start getting that on your regular calendar, you will be shocked at the changes that you see in your life. Because there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes and sometimes you know about it and sometimes you don't know about it. And when you can be freed up from those things, then all the great real estate stuff I teach you, you can actually do something with, So anyway, Jen and I are very grateful that we have each other. We make an incredible team, and we just have a lot of passion for you guys and helping you. All right, so let's get into the homework for today. And for those of you who were at the last challenge, did you notice our pretty homework Canva? That was Saraha. She's from Madagascar and she is amazing and built out all this new beautiful stuff for us. I'm super excited. All right, homework. First part of your homework is I want you to download the workbook and the self-scoring tally sheet. Those are 2 100% critical. You cannot do the challenge without them. So go ahead and get those downloaded and print the workbook if need be, and the self-scoring tally sheet if need be. And the self-scoring tally sheet, more realistically, you're probably going to use it more in electronic form just because all of the links are there and you could just click on them and go to it from there. As I mentioned earlier, send Michael a friend request and a private message, just introducing yourself. The reason we're asking you to send a private message instead of having him message everyone is Facebook has some interesting rules around, like, you can only do outreach so much. Like, you can only send like whatever 7 or 8 or whatever the number is messages out to people if they haven't messaged you first. And so it really keeps us from being able to serve you guys and get you what you need. So we decided this challenge just to make it part of the requirement that you send him a private message, which will then allow him to send you back whatever it is that you need without getting blocked on Facebook. All right. Next is homework. Watch the challenge housekeeping video. And it is so important for you to do that I have literally given you points for it to make sure. All right, so watch the housekeeping video. It's not very long. And then complete day 1 homework and post the picture in the homework post. All right. And then the day 1 homework is inside the workbook. All right, so it's about establishing your goals, establishing your why, and then post your picture up. For extra credit, there's 3 extra credit things for today that you can start earning your extra credit points towards a scholarship. First is share the 5-day challenge on your personal profile. Second is subscribe to our YouTube channel and ring the bell, which basically then makes it so that if we put a new video out, and it's always content related, or pretty much always content related, you'll get a notification from YouTube saying, oh, hey, the multifamily real estate investing YouTube channel has, put out a new class. And that way, if it's something that's, a topic you're interested in, you can go ahead and watch it. And then the last is the Ask Us Anything. So probably many of you have already seen it, but if not, we get, I can't even tell you how many in a week. We get so many requests over Messenger and email of, oh, hey, I have a question. Can you just answer this question? Can you look at this deal for me? Like things like that. And I'm sure you can probably imagine that, we are real estate investors. We have our own portfolio. We have 4 kids. We have the Warriors of Wealth mastermind, 2 masterminds that we run, and a Facebook group that has nearly 10,000 people in it. We don't have extra bandwidth for, hey, could you just look at my deal? So what we did, and we started this, gosh, I don't know, probably about 7 or 8 months ago now, but every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, Jen and I will show up in person on Facebook as a live. And we start off by just talking about, like, people in our mastermind who are actually in deals. We'll just kind of give updates, because a lot of times we find people like to follow the journey of people who are only a little bit ahead of them, because it helps you see, oh, it's possible for you. So start off by talking about that. We'll do like a quick topic. So there's always some kind of educational component of it. And then we just basically do open Q&A. So every single Wednesday, you can come there, you have us at your, I don't want to say beck and call, because it's not exactly accurate, but basically we're available to you for answering your questions about real estate, anything related to real estate. All right. So what I want you to do, and it really sucks if it's Thursday and you're like, oh, I missed it yesterday. All right. So I want you to go in and register for the next 4 weeks of the Ask Us Anything. This week's is going to be super critical, because I would be shocked if you don't have questions after the homework tomorrow and Wednesday. So make sure you're for sure there this week, but I want you to register for the next 4 weeks. What happens is, once you register, and you're going to go to the events tab. And if you don't know where the events tab is, you'll know as soon as you watch the housekeeping video, because I go through and show you exactly where it is and how to find the stuff that's in the future that doesn't just show up. All right. So you're going to get a notification from Facebook every week when the Ask Us Anything is coming, to remind you, oh, that's right. And, frankly, even if you don't have a question, what you're going to find is that other people who ask questions are asking questions that you're like, God, I didn't even think to ask it. That's such a good question. And so we find a lot of people really get so much more knowledge just by showing up and even listening to other people's questions. And sometimes someone might ask a question that you didn't think of, and it prompts you to go, oh, yeah, okay. And then what about this? So that's the time that we're there for you. So if you're ever asking us a question anytime in between those Wednesdays, our response is always going to be the same. Unless you're in our mastermind, obviously that's a different story, because that's why we're there for running mastermind. But if it's in between, we're just going to say, hey, that's a great question. Bring it to the Wednesday Ask Us Anything. I'll be happy to get into detail on that. All right. And then just as a reminder, all of the points and the links related to the homework and the extra credit are in the self-scoring tally sheet, all right, which is in the guides section, BRRR Challenge Day 1. All right. Whew, I'm tired. Are you guys tired? Just wait till tomorrow. All right. So tomorrow, day 2 of the challenge, we're going to be covering lead generation. This is an Achilles heel for so many people. Like, I don't know how to find deals. I don't know how to have them come in. And you know what? We are not going to teach you how to go find deals. We're going to teach you how to lead teams to bring you deals. And that is what tomorrow is about. We're very excited. It's going to be very action-based. I'm going to teach you, and then you're going to go to work and start getting some momentum, which is going to set you up perfectly for Wednesday. All right, you guys have an amazing day. I hope that we have the opportunity to see you today at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern for the mindset call. And I know for sure we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a good one, guys, and we will see you soon.